Boom, shaka, laka, boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of drum roll reality radio. You have found the Clay Edwards Show. Some would say the most incendiary show in the country. Some would say. We are live here on 103.9 WYAB. I like to call it the 50,000 MAGA watt flame thrower. Fun fact, and you can check this out, you can confirm this. Little old radio station out here, WYAB, as I overlook from my perch at the Cotton Exchange Plaza, is the most powerful single tower news talk station in the state of Mississippi at 50,000 watts. But I'm going to tell you what, when we were just 5,000 watts or whatever it was prior to that upgrade, we were already the most powerful, most influential news talk station in the state of Mississippi. Some call it conservative talk. I call it reality radio. You have tuned in to a movement, my friends, a free speech movement. I have my buddy Creston Berch here in the studio with me, where we come on here and we test the limits of our free speech every single day across these FM airwaves. And I cannot change. I will not change. I will not back down. I will not censor myself. I will not water this down. I will not filter myself, because that's not what got me here, tiptoeing on broken glass. No, sir. I am a bull in an absolute china shop, or an absolute bull in a china shop, should I say. And if that gets me kicked off the radio today, tomorrow, yesterday, then so be it. I went out doing what I love. Not that I have had any threats of not being kicked off the radio. I'm just saying, if we get up to that line and we push that son of a gun as far as we can, testing every bit of, what is it called, Creston, when a rubber band, you're testing its
Elasticity.
Elasticity, thank you. We're going to test the elasticity of the line that I can push before breaking the rules around here. But, that is the catchphrase of the show, breaking rules when necessary. And, man, if it's ever necessary, all joking aside, if it's ever necessary, it is right now, in this time in which we live in. There's another little line in that intro that says, may the times you live in be interesting. Well, we have accomplished that. I said that on a podcast before there was ever a Clay Edwards show. There was the Save Jackson podcast, and those words fell out of my mouth in some form, fashion, or another. And my buddy Moose, who put that together for me, y'all might remember Moose. He was a DJ on Rock 93 and several of the adult entertainment bars around here. So I think it's kind of funny, y'all. He said the term strip club DJ voice. Strip club DJ actually produced my intro for this show. But shout out to Moose, man. He's living back up in Michigan, but we hope to see him down here soon. He actually messaged me not too long ago and said he was going to be in town here soon. We shared a couple very good friends, and they've all passed away, unfortunately. So I think Moose and I will get together and share a couple cold beers in our friends' memories. Shout out to Corey, shout out to Nikki, and whomever else we've lost. Let's see here. Big announcement real quick. Little last-minute addition to this morning's show. Our Ag Commissioner, Andy Gipson, making big news around the state with his promise to ban Sharia law on day one if he becomes governor. Andy's going to be calling in here in about 12 minutes after our first break. We may take a break a little early. No, we don't have to. We'll take it right on time at 7:20. And when we come back, we'll have Andy on the phone, 7:25 a.m. right here on WYAB. So we're going to talk to the man himself, one of my favorite people in politics, Mr. Andy Gipson. Could he be your next governor? Does Andy Gipson have your vote? Does Andy have your vote? I like Andy a lot. And it's going to be fun to see how this shakes out. It's no secret. I like several of these people a lot that are running for this thing. I think the bench here on the Republican side is so deep. The only thing I hate about this Creston, and we'll get into this later, but as of right now, the people that we either know or think we know that are going to run for governor, they're going to lose their current seats, whether they win or lose, because they're not running for their current seats again. You got Lynn Fitch. That's addition by subtraction. You've got Andy Gipson. You most likely, if I was a betting man, you got Shad White. So we're going to lose Shad as auditor. You've got a dear friend of mine, and he's not currently in office anywhere, but he's on the radio, on the other station. You got Gerard Gibert. And that's like a dark horse, but I'm going to tell you, once Gerard gets to talking and you hear Gerard, man, this guy's really smart and he gets it. And he is a self-made multi-millionaire. And he's basically grew up in just on the edge of South Jackson, right there in West Jackson, right by Westland Plaza. You can call that West Jackson, Southwest Jackson, whatever you want to call that. Grew up right there, like on First Avenue, I think. Well, my dad grew up on First Avenue, and he grew up right around the corner on another street. But he's a self-made dude, and people like that. He's got that Trumpian kind of vibe to him. And I know a lot and then you got Tommy Duff. I believe that's the correct name. Is it Tommy Duff? Let me look at my handwritten letter here from Tommy. Yeah, Tommy Duff. Sometimes I say Duffy, but that's from Duffy is from that Chris Farley movie. Ain't that right?
I think you're
Where
right.
he was selling auto parts?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Black Sheep, was that it?
Yeah.
So, can't believe I remember that. Either you're wrong and you're just agreeing with me, or we're both wrong.
I think you're right for only one or two times I ever saw that movie. So.
Yeah, so Gerard's a good guy, man. But anyway, you got a stacked field looking to run for that. And I'm sure I know there's some other people, and I do apologize if I'm not mentioning your name. It's early in the morning, and I wasn't even planning on having this conversation. But I was looking to talk about Andy's Sharia law bill. And as I was saving it to my notes, Andy texted me something else. And I said, hey, while I got you on the phone here, do you mind calling into the show this morning? He said, absolutely. So we're going to have Andy on in a few minutes. Hey, look, so the show is powered by the free testosterone screenings over at Live Better Men's Health and Wellness. You can text my name, CLAY, to get a pen, write this down, put it in your phone, text it, whatever you need to do. 601-633-9017. 601-633-9017. And Lindsay says, ain't no way that's Tommy Duff handwriting if you got the same handwriting I did. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course, Philip Gunn. My friend Philip Gunn is also running. I knew there was a big name that just was on the tip of my tongue. And the last time I did this, I said everybody's name but Gerard Gibert's. And I got a text that said, Clay, I thought we were friends. I said, dang it, Gerard, it was not on purpose, man. It just slipped my mind, man. Slipped my mind. But look, I say it all the time. I don't listen to Super Talk much. I listen to some of their sports stuff. I like their Thunder and Lightning, the Mississippi State show. And I'll even listen to, who's the guy that's on right now? That's their Ole Miss guy, Richard Cross.
Richard Cross.
I don't listen to Richard in the morning, obviously, because we're on air at the same time. But I think Richard Cross does great coverage for Ole Miss. I like to keep up with what both are doing.
Oh yeah.
You need to know what your enemy's doing as well. But I do listen to, when I'm in the car, I do listen to what Gerard has to say, especially if it's a very complex topic about something going on at the Capitol or these data centers. He played a big role in getting these data centers to Mississippi and economic development. I know that data centers are a dirty word to a lot of people. And I tell you what, let's start right there at the data centers this morning, because I got something on that. And we got a big show planned for you today. It's going to be action-packed, boom, 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 boom. And we just added Andy Gipson out of the blue. So all the more action-packed show today. Going to be a very fast-paced, multi-topic show today. Speaking of data centers, well, first, take advantage of those free testosterone screenings. Text Clay, 601-613-6779. Is that right? I need to write that number down. But that's it. You ever say a number so many times,
You think you're saying it wrong?
Yeah, and we give out so many numbers on the show. We got to figure out a way to change that. But anyway, text Clay 601-633-9017. Free testosterone screening. Or just go by livebettermen.com. Also, speaking of texting, if you want to text the show this morning, the Ellis Autoplex text line is 769-241-1944. And, of course, we're live on the Mazda Jackson live stream worldwide, baby, on X, on YouTube. You can find that at Save JXN and watch the show in stunning HD. And then we're also live at Clay Edwards Show on Rumble, Twitch, and Facebook. I will keep Facebook on through the second segment because I want to let Andy be heard by as many people as possible this morning. So we will keep Facebook on maybe for the first hour. You know, it's at my will when I want to cut Facebook
Well, sir, this
off.
is your world, so you get to choose what happens.
Well, that's why I named it the Clay Edwards Show.
That's right.
Not Save Jackson Radio, not Southern Decadence, not Content Detrimental, and some of the other names I've thought about. Not Culture Rot Radio. I did change the name of the Facebook group, however, from Clay Edwards Show to Culture Rot. And I have really opened up the gates there. So if y'all want to go join a fun and very incendiary Facebook group, we've already got over 7,000 members, and it's mostly local people because we have to approve every new member. And we got a couple little questions there. You don't have to answer the questions, but it favors your ability to get in quicker if you do. I think it auto approves you if you answer the questions. So just go search Culture Rot on Facebook, and a private group will pop up. We even made a new logo for it and everything. It looks kind of like my G.I. Joe logo. Hit join, and we'll get you in there, and you can post. We do have to approve post because of the way the community guideline violations work. I can't have you just willy-nilly posting stuff and our accounts get in trouble. So we got a little bit of a guidance there. All right, real quick, I got some advice of the day. I posted this on my Facebook last night. This is for all you culture rotters out there that think entrepreneur is a job title. Someone reading this right now, or someone hearing this on the radio, has entrepreneur in their bio on Facebook, X, Instagram, whatever is their job title. I repeat, entrepreneur is not a job title. It's not. Even if you're a multifaceted business owner, entrepreneur is not a job title. CEO is a job title. CFO is a job title. Entrepreneur is not a job title. It's like saying I'm a rock star, but you're not actually a rock star. Most of the people who are entrepreneurs don't tell you they're entrepreneurs. They tell you, I own such and such business. I am a CEO of such and such holdings that manages multiple businesses. So anytime I see somebody, and it's usually, let's be honest, it's usually a culture rotter. They have entrepreneur as their job title, and they usually also went to the School of Hard Knocks. If you look a little further down, a lot of School of Hard Knocks really pumped out a lot of entrepreneurs. They must have a great entrepreneur business program over there at the School of Hard Knocks. Let's hit this real quick. Speaking of data centers, if all you know data center folks out there, and look, I'm not saying pro or con. I'm in the let's wait and see category on this data center stuff. I was like, hey, let's just pump the brakes just a little bit here, and let's just kind of see what the outcome could be. Well, here's if you're really about that no data center life, here's the things you got to pledge to stop doing. No more using Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. No more using ChatGPT. No more streaming on Netflix or YouTube. No more shopping on Amazon. No more using Venmo or online banking. No more saving photos to the iCloud or Google Photos. Oh, you like GPS? Not anymore. You better get back to using that Rand McAnally That's a map for the young folks that don't know. No more working remotely. Liberals, y'all sure y'all are anti-data center? No more receiving emergency weather alerts. Yep. Better buckle down. Go build you a safe room. You hear that train coming, you don't live near no train tracks. You better duck, tuck, cover. And lastly, but not leastly, no more using emails and no more using credit cards and debit cards. These are all things that data centers are used to power. So again, I'm not saying one way or another. I'm just saying, if you're all in on no more data centers, it's time to make some personal commitments. Get back the flip phone, cut off the internet. It was nice having you around. All right, we'll be right back. We're going to have Andy Gipson on the phone with us, talking about Sharia law in Mississippi and see what else Andy's up to. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Back in to the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. We're broadcasting live here on we're on 103.9 WYAB, and we're streaming worldwide on the Mazda of Jackson live stream. And this little interview right here, we got tuned up with our ag commissioner, the one, the only, Mr. Andy Gipson, going to be brought to you by our friends over at Ellis Autoplex. Be sure to swing by Ellis Autoplex today and check out their full assortment of pre-owned four-door, four-wheel drive F-150s. And, of course, guys, they got other trucks as well. They got your Rams, your Toyotas, Tundras, Tacomas, 4Runners, and they got cars and SUVs too. Don't worry. It ain't just four-door, four-wheel drive trucks, but it's at least two-thirds of that. So if you're in the market for one of those, man, swing by, check them out today. Late model, a little lower miles, a little more affordable than what you're going to be able to get at the big car lots. Because, see, they ain't trying to keep the miles low enough that they can't sell you an extended warranty and make all that money on the back end like a lot of these dealerships do. You are buying a truck or buying a car, and that's what the deal is about at Ellis Autoplex. If it's a good deal for you, you can afford the payment, boom. They ain't trying to lump on a whole lot of stuff on the back end. They do offer it, and they're going to make you a good deal on that if you do want an extended service contract, warranty, whatever you want to call it. But, it's not like a priority for them. It's just save the vehicle, make sure you're happy, and on to the next one. It's just good old-fashioned people doing business with each other. Just good old-fashioned car deal. Ellis Autoplex. Check them out online, ellisautoplex.com. Let's go to the phone. Andy, you there?
I'm here, Clay. Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Man, Commissioner Andy Gipson, thank you for the last-minute acceptance to do this phone call. I really do appreciate you. You, my friend, have made some waves the last couple of days. I almost texted you last night, but it was so late. I said, no, I don't want to text the commissioner that late. But I saw where WLBT and all the others are pushing back on your commitment to ban Sharia law. And I want to read the quote here real quick that got them all worked up. They got this from your Facebook page. It says, I am not the governor of Mississippi yet, but when you elect me, I guarantee you this, I will ban Sharia law and the influence of Islam in Mississippi on day one of my administration by executive order and by special session if necessary. It should have been done a long time before now. Andy, what you got to say, brother?
Yeah, well, it's nothing new for me. I actually announced this policy back in November. If you go back and watch my page, you can find I put out a list of 10 things that I'll do when I'm your next governor on day one. At the top of the list is ending Chinese ownership of our land and banning Sharia law. Those are two things I will do on day one. It should have been done a long time ago. You see what's happening in Dearborn, Michigan. You see the implications of Sharia law that degrades and devalues human life and is hurting women and children in our own country. And I've seen it globally. I have traveled the world promoting Mississippi products, and I've been to Europe, and I've heard the minaret call in the town of London, which now has a Muslim mayor, demanding people stop and pray all those times a day. I've seen cultures destroyed. And you see what's happening in Texas, and why Texas is really, really locking down on this to make sure they don't have Sharia law. It should have been done in Mississippi a long time ago. It wasn't. Now, somebody said, well, Mississippi passed a law. Mississippi passed a nothing of a law back in 2015. I was there, and every Democrat voted for it. That's proof positive that it didn't do anything that was back in 2015. In fact, the legislature's killed all the good, solid bills that would have banned Sharia law. And we've got to act on this. People who think it's not an issue, they better wake up. You better open your eyes. You better get your head out of the sand. It is a quiet but coming takeover of America, and we stop it. And I will stop it from coming to Mississippi.
Man, look, we've often heard, and thank you for that, your commitment to that, and we've often heard about the Sharia law stuff, and we took a deep dive into it on my show 2 days ago. On Tuesday, I believe, our very own Andrew Gosser here at this radio station is very, very well versed in the Quran and Sharia law, and really told us some really scary stuff about this. And if part of you feels like, well, don't we just already have laws in place that would prevent these things from happening? Like, if they cut off somebody's hand, well, that's assault and this, that, and the other. But apparently, and I learned this, they have like a Sharia court in Dearborn, Michigan, and if both parties agree to the punishment, then they get to do it. It feels very La Cosa Nostra to me. But these people they're coming in and they're getting power. And somebody reminded me of a great documentary on Netflix the other day. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but everybody should go watch this. It's called Wild Wild West, and I believe it's where this Indian guru came into Idaho Idaho, I think, and bought up thousands and thousands of acres and just kept moving people on and moving people on and moving people on, and they were able to get enough votes that they took over the town. And
that's their methodology. That's what they've done successfully in all of Europe. Which I have traveled. These are countries that used to be strong Christian nations. Even the nation of England has been taken over. Whole cities taken over, and they've put the subjects under the Sharia law. And so, yes, it is. I want to be very clear. I have always fought for and I support the freedom of religion. We have that enshrined in our Constitution. People can worship as they see fit. But Sharia law is something altogether different. It is a legal system within the adherence to Islam that they essentially violate people's constitutional rights every day, and it is a danger to women. It is degrading to women and to children, and I've got a plan to block it. And by the way, Clay, if people think it's not an issue in Mississippi, I've heard that from some of my friends. Why are you talking about this? You better wake up. People don't know. There is built as the first Muslim museum in America, a center for Muslim cultures in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Been there for 25 years, and they've got a whole display to the Prophet Muhammad, which they call the messenger and final prophet. And they got a map of Mecca on there where people should turn to pray. And it's not coming. It's already here. People need to wake up, get your head out of the sand. And that's why, I've been talking about it a long time, but recent events have brought it back to the forefront. And I've not changed my position. I'm not going to. I'm going to do what I said I would do.
Yeah, no, nor should you. And I mean, I see here, I've had this WLBT article pulled up where the headline reads, Mississippi Muslims say their faith is rooted in serving others, and they push back on candidates' anti-Islam rhetoric. And I love how they use these anti-Islam and words like rhetoric and whatnot to make you sound like a bad person. And no, we didn't push back on Islam, not pushing back on your Muslim religion. We're talking specifically about Sharia law. These are two different things here.
That's right. Yeah, people need to get educated about it. And that reporter, I didn't get a chance to do an interview with him. I guess maybe he'll call. I can do one later. But I'll go on TV and tell the whole wide world what I'm telling you right now. This is an evil, creeping attempt to take over our country. It is seditious. It violates the fundamental principles of American freedom and our Constitution. And I will never, ever allow Mississippi to become Dearborn, Michigan. I will never allow Mississippi to become Europe or London, which has been taken over. We have to stop it in its tracks now. Texas just did a sweeping set of reforms to block, apparently they've been building a Sharia law compound in Texas in vast tracts of Texas land, so they blocked it over there. again, it's not coming here. It's already here. We need to wake up, be aware, and take action on it. And if I'm the only man with enough guts to speak on it, I'll be happy to stand alone. But I believe that the people of Mississippi will stand with me.
Well, look, if it can happen in Texas, Andy, it can dang sure happen in Mississippi. I mean, we look at Texas as kind of like this bright red beacon in the night of conservatism, of constitutionalism. And if it can, and I see a lot of stuff going on over there, and I see a lot of stuff with their governor allowing that just really makes me question some things. And I know there's always kind of the headline and then underneath the headline, but Sharia compounds being allowed should never be the headline. I don't need to know the rest of it. If that's the first sentence of the paragraph of the story, I don't need to know anymore. How did we get here, and how do we stop it from getting here?
Yeah, and look, we need to end taxpayer funds for these projects. I don't know if any taxpayer funds went to this Muslim museum in Jackson. I bet Jackson paid for a lot of it. We need to block Sharia compounds. We need to prohibit foreign financing of the encroachment of Islam into our state and our country. We need to enforce and expand our existing laws against, mutilation, laws against animal cruelty, against polygamy and pedophiles. And we need to expand the application of the weak milquetoast law that's on the books, House Bill 177. We need to expand that application beyond just a court setting to actually protect people's freedoms where they live.
Well, I did see, kind of on what you were saying there, I did see something that I liked that looks like Mississippi has expanded the death penalty to include child sexual battery. So that is definitely a move in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. So
yes. Absolutely it is. That, people need to, I mean, there's unspeakable things that this system of law but actively advances wherever it goes. And we have to stop it. We have to be bold enough to call it out. I've already done that. I've been doing it for a long time. The recent events have brought it back to the forefront. But it's something that we cannot sit back and just hope everything's going to work out. We have to take action on this. And maybe these events will get us to the point that we'll take action. I tell you this, if the good people of Mississippi elect me as governor, I'm going to do it on the first day of my administration. Right after I'm sworn in, I'm going to sign that order, whether it's an executive order or calling the legislature to act in a special session during the session. We're going to get it done immediately.
I like it. It puts off big time Reagan taking over for Carter vibes and getting those hostages back. Because it better happen. It's going to happen day. It's going to happen day one. That's the energy I get from you there. Hey, Andy, before we let you go, you got anything you want to plug? You got any good news you want to share? Just anything. The table's yours, my friend.
Yeah, we're excited about what's going on. Of course, I'm doing my job as ag commissioner. Cut a ribbon on a new sawmill in Mississippi. A new company called TLM cut that ribbon yesterday in New Albany. And this same company has committed to me to bring up to 8 new sawmills to Mississippi. That is a desperately needed economic development. And I'm excited. I want to get back to promoting real economic development for real people and bringing back those kind of jobs that we've allowed to go overseas. So that's something I'm working on. And I really appreciate everybody's support of my campaign. You can check out all the information on my website, Andy Gipson. That's Gipson with a P, AndyGipson.com. And check it out, sign up, and volunteer and support. We're going to win this election in 50 weeks and 5 days. It'll be here next August 3rd, when we vote for a new governor. Thank you for having me, Clay.
Andy Gipson, Ag Commissioner, as always, my friend. I love chatting with you. Let's get you here in the studio again here soon for a little longer form sit down. I got a ton of questions I want to get to you, but I ain't gonna put you on the spot here on the radio this morning. I want to talk about data centers and all this stuff, all these hot button topics. Everybody's got the pants on fire about. Kind of see what your thoughts and feelings are on all that stuff. But we'll give it to you. We'll do it when we have a little bit more time to really vet it all out. And Andy, I appreciate you this morning, brother. Last minute, I know. So thank you so much for jumping on for the Clay Edwards Show audience.
Glad to be here. Thank you. God bless you. Y'all have a great day. Try to stay cool. It's going to be a hot one. Y'all take care out there.
You too, brother. Thank you. Always appreciate our great ag commissioner, Andy Gipson, taking the time to jump on with us. And look, I do have a lot of questions I want to get to him. He had a tight window this morning. The Sharia law was what the conversation was about. So if you do have questions, do get them to me. And Andy is a really good dude about jumping on and taking the time to come on these shows. He's never told me no. Never once have I asked him to come on the show over the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, however long we've been doing this now, and him say no. So he's a hard worker, dude. I like Andy a lot. I really do. Good person. Let's take a break real quick. Let's come back, and we're going to reset. And I don't even know where we're going to start. We got so many great topics. I may just kind of flip a coin here. I need like an 8-sided coin. Flip a coin here and see what we're going to get started with. Y'all don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. 1039 WYAB. Welcome back in to the most incendiary show on the RADIO. You like that right there? See what I did there? I sang. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 1039 WYAB. Streaming worldwide over on the Mazda Jackson live stream and Stunning HD. That's right, Stunning HD. We got the live chat up on the screen, rolling along over there. Real quick, I do want to apologize to the people on the live stream that couldn't hear the first minute or so of the Andy Gipson interview. Somebody, unbeknownst to me, had tapped a button that there was zero reason for them to tap on the soundboard, and it was on the phone line. There's 2 little buttons at the top. Both got to be on for it to go to the internet, and both were not on. So unfortunately, y'all got the blacked out audio there for a second. But your boy is a technical genius. I figured it out pretty quick, and we saved the day. Yes, I did. I saved the day. No, all joking aside, I apologize for that, and thank y'all for texting me and commenting that you couldn't hear, because you would have gone the whole interview not hearing, and it wouldn't have done me any good later when I'm trying to edit this video for folks to hear and see Andy. So we do appreciate that. Again, thank you, Andy, for coming on short notice there. Let's see here real quick before we jump into it. This segment's brought to you by our friends out at Cypress Point Resort. Man, that's right. My good friends over at Cameron's Garage, Cypress Point Resort out there off Holly Bush Road in Rankin County. I don't never know if to call that Brandon, Flowood, the county. It's just, it is all over the place out there. It's like a Highway 471 there where Ellis Autoplex is. I think technically it's Flowood if you call the cops, but it's Brandon.
Well, I guess that end of the county is starting to get just as bad as the the Highway 49 I-20 stack area. You don't know who runs that either. So
that's right. Yeah, it's like Richland, Flowood,
Jackson, Highway Patrol, and nobody knows.
Yeah, look, man. Tonight out at Cypress Point Resort, it's bike night. That's right, man. Every Thursday, right there at Cameron's Garage. And real quick, if you hear me say Cypress Point and Cameron's Garage, Cypress Point is the name of the facility. And Cameron's Garage is the big, huge open-air sports bar and live music venue that's inside Cameron's Garage. Kind of like how the casinos have bars and live music venues inside the casinos that have different names, like Hard Rock Live at the Hard Rock Casino or Center Stage at the Indian Resort at Silver Star.
They used to have the Bottleneck Blues Bar.
They still do. At Ameristar has the Bottleneck Blues Bar. So that's what Cameron's Garage is to Cypress Point Resort, because this place is, if you haven't been out there, you really owe it to yourself to go see this monstrosity of a property right out there in the middle of a bunch of in the woods. It is just, I say the woods, a bunch of neighborhoods around, but right just kind of in the middle of nowhere, so to say. If you're from Jackson, Holly Bush Road's the middle of nowhere. If you're from Rankin County, it's just Holly Bush Road. But if you're from a more urban sprawl, it's definitely feels like you're out in the country.
It definitely used to be in the middle of nowhere, but now it's a little more inside the neighborhood.
Absolutely. But yeah, so tonight is bike night. It's 50-cent wings, $5 fireball shots, and $12 buckets of domestic beers. Look, I don't have to tell you, don't ride the bike out there and partake in the shots. You be the passenger or plan on leaving your bike. I'm just throwing that out there. But you already know that. We got a bunch of people that listen to the Clay Edwards Show are smart. They don't go out there and get DUIs and stuff. We know people that do, but we don't do that. So look, get out there tonight, enjoy it. Also, over in the steakhouse and the tavern, it is $2 off martinis, and there's a steak dinner special tonight as well. They don't have the price posted for the dinner special, but they're doing basically a steak night, and you get $2 off martinis. Oh, here's something real cool too before we move on. over at Bike Night in Cameron's Garage. They got a big giveaway tonight. They're giving away two wheels. They're giving away a Harley Davidson rolling cooler. Looks like all you got to do is they got a punch card of some sort. I guess the more you go, they punch it, or more maybe you buy a beer, they punch it. Whatever the case is, you get a punch card, and I guess once it says ride in on two wheels, get your card punched, and enter to win the grand prize, a Harley Davidson cooler. So maybe y'all know about this punch card thing. This is new to me, but go check it out, and you got a chance to win a really cool Harley Davidson roll-around cooler. Things are neat. Also, they got live music tonight from Chris Sanders and Bradley Parker. So check that out tonight. Cameron's Garage, Cypress Point Resort. Okay, let's see here. How much time we got left? 3 minutes. Let's make it count. Did y'all see this big old snow buffalo? Let's get Creston pulled in here for this one. Did y'all see this big old snow buffalo from the Southern Poverty Law Center? Now, she probably thinks she's a snow bunny, but I guess she's all mad because she didn't get her invitation to the barbecue. She went and got all thick, thinking that, they like them. She's a liberal attorney from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Big old white girl, blonde hair. She went and got all thick, thinking, oh, yeah, this is what they like. They're going to love me. I'm going to get invited to the barbecue. But nope, they invited Becky instead. They invited the snow bunny, not the snow buffalo. Clay, what are you talking about? I'll tell y'all. Former Southern Poverty Law Center CFO arrested on fraud charges. Now that is the WLBT very friendly headline version of that right there. But let's see what looks like I shared the wrong link to my notes here real quick. Give me 2 seconds. I go to jacksonjambalaya.com and see what Kingfish has to say. The title over at Jackson Jambalaya is More Southern Poverty Shame. So it says, a federal grand jury in Montgomery returned a second superseding indictment, adding a defendant and additional charges in the case involving the Southern Poverty Law Center. Now, before I read any further, what she had got arrested for is pretty interesting, shall we say. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version. A former Southern Poverty Law Center CFO has been arrested on charges she oversaw secret payments to informants inside the white supremacist group, the neo-Nazis. And she was also having an affair, a sexual affair, with the leader of the group. Wah, wah, wah. Black folks, clean y'all's ears out for me real quick. I mean, not good black folks. The crazy, the black for a living Democrat death culture black folks, the haters that are listening this morning, the ones that like to call everybody racist. I keep telling y'all about this kind of stuff, that y'all's white allies out there are really the racists, not us. They are the ones funding the very hate groups that y'all all accuse us of being for simply disagreeing. See what I did there? I went black preacher on you, right there. I went civil rights leader. I used 2 words and made them rhyme. See, disagreeing and agreeing. Yeah, you like that? I got my Ben Crump voice on there. So that's how easy folks are to get you to eat out of their hands. Just do a little nursery rhyme for you real quick. Again, y'all accuse us of being racist for simply disagreeing with y'all. Meanwhile, your allies are out here sleeping with the literal enemy, funding the enemy, the white supremacist groups that y'all are so scared of, that are hiding behind every corner, looking to jump out and go, boogie woogie, boogie woogie woogie woogie. Boogie, woogie, 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 woogie. Nope. Clay Edwards ain't funding them. Creston Berch ain't funding them. WYB ain't funding them. But the fat white ally of y'all's that y'all roll the red carpet out for, that you invite over to the barbecue, that you think is your friend, they're funding them and sleeping with them. Creston?
Oh, the Southern Poverty Law Center are trying to stay relevant. They have to pay to play.
I know it's been said before, but there's so little real racism they're having to manufacture it.
On all different fronts.
On all different fronts. Her name is Heidi. Of course it is. Of course it is. Heidi Belrick. She even got a little German last name, doesn't she?
And she's from the land of fruit and nuts.
Palm Springs, California. It goes along with the SPLC with new charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to submit false information to a federally insured bank. We'll be right back on the Clipper Show. Creston,
it would be funny if you could make this stuff up.
We're on that. We're staying on the air for a minute. I mean, you don't need your headphones. You'll be hearing commercials. Yeah, no, you can't make this up. Let's read the rest of this.
You can't make it up.
I want to read this for a second. We're going to change topics when we come back. But it says, so I'm going to read the whole thing here. It says, a federal grand jury in Montgomery, Alabama, returned a second superseding indictment, adding a defendant and additional charges in the case involving the SPLC. The second superseding indictment, which was unsealed today, charges Heidi L. Belrick, 59, of Palm Springs, California, along with the SPLC, with new charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to submit false statements to a federally insured bank. The new indictment also adds Belrick as a defendant to the previously charged count of conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering and charges the SPLC with an additional count of concealment money laundering. Belrick was served with an arrest warrant this morning, this will be yesterday, in the Central District of California, and is expected to make her initial appearance in federal court there this afternoon. The charges arise from an alleged scheme involving the use of donated funds and financial accounts associated with fictitious entities. As previously alleged, the scheme involves efforts to conceal the source, ownership, and control of funds and control of funds, and to make false representations concerning the use of donated money and the operation of financial accounts. The second superseding indictment expands the case to include the alleged participation of Belrick and additional conduct involving the movement and concealment of proceeds. I got to check my schedule real quick. All right, we got about 30 seconds. It says the Southern Poverty Law Center was previously charged on an 11-count indictment returned in April of 26 with wire fraud, false statements to a federally insured bank, and conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering. Man, they said that word a lot. The second superseding indictment alleges that between 2007 and 2023, more than $4 million in donated funds were secretly funneled to individuals associated with violent extremist groups.
$4 million.
$4 million. And Kingfisher's got some interesting notes here. It says the defendant was employed at the SPLC as the director of Intel project at an annual salary of $173,090. He says it would have been funny if she got knocked up by the KKK. It would have been, wouldn't it? All right, we're back. Welcome back in. I apologize for y'all having to hear me talk over the intro there. I was reading the rest of this article to our live stream audience over at jacksonjambalaya.com. Yeah, so this girl, Heidi Belrick, or is it Byrick? Is it B-E-L-R-I-C-H or B-E-I-R-I-C-H? I think it's Byrick. Now that I think about it, it's all capital, and those aren't capital L's, so Byrick, not Belrick. Either way, big old fatty with a German last name. Of course she was funneling money over to a neo-Nazi, Ku Klux Klanner. But where's I want to see something real quick. Has the Mississippi Today, the Mississippi Free Press, have they done any exposés about their people and this whole thing here today? Let's go to Mississippi Today first. I mean, Jerry Mitchell, I love Jerry. I mean, he does great work. You know, I think he's a stand-up guy and he's passionate about what he covers. But I mean, this is in Jerry's wheelhouse. I mean, Jerry loves covering the supremacy and the Klan and all that stuff, and funding mechanisms for the Klan, and just exposing all the racism. I mean, we got people funding the gosh dang Klan in 2026. Where is the story about this from the Mississippi Today? Why haven't they covered this? I'm not seeing it anywhere. Up and down their site, left to right, side to side. That is left to right, isn't it? Up and down, left to right. Nothing, nowhere.
Horizontally and vertically?
Nothing. We'll be right back. 7 minutes. Don't go nowhere. Goes La Dynamite. It's hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the RADIO, the Clay Edwards Show. We are live here on the 50,000 megawatt flamethrower, 1039 WYAB. We're streaming worldwide on the Mazda Jackson live stream. We are cutting off Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, please join us over at YouTube, X, or Rumble, or Twitch. You can find it on YouTube and X at Save JXN. You can find it on Rumble and Twitch by typing in Clay Edwards Show. It's just that simple. All right, that is done. This segment is going to be brought to you by our good friends over at Cowden Electric. That's right, Marty Cowden and the team handle all your electric needs with a heavy interest or specialty in, or specializing of, I don't know how the heck you say that, but look, what they're doing is they're going to come out there and put you a permanently installed emergency generator on the side of your home or your business or your shop. When the power kicks off, the generator's going to kick on. Guys, I know a lot of y'all are hunters on this show. I'm just trying to think of like real life applications other than just being able to say, hey, it's hot in Mississippi. And when the power goes out, your air conditioner goes out. That should be really all I have to say to motivate you to get you a dang emergency generator. If you're a homeowner and you can afford it, look, I don't want to count your money. I don't want to get up in your wallet. But if you're a homeowner, you probably got good enough credit. If you can get home finance, you're a responsible person unless, something's happened. You've had an emergency situation or a divorce or something like that. Maybe it's messed up your credit. I get it, but you should have fairly decent credit. You can get one of these things financed at 0% over several years where it's just not that expensive for you on a monthly payment. And you can have the security of knowing that when the power kicks off, yours stays on. You're going to stay warm in the winter. You're going to stay cold in the summer. And what I was saying about the hunting thing, we brought this up the other day. All that deer meat, thousands upon thousands of dollars of deer meat. You got in the multiple deer freezers out there, whether you've had it processed yet or you got it sitting there waiting to be processed next year, whatever the case may be. You done killed 10, 12 bucks, whatever. You got kids. I know some people but between them and their kids, they got a lot of deer, and it's quick. It can happen quick. It can pile up. Man, the last thing you want is to have another Katrina situation where the power's out for a week in the summer. And here you are, trying to figure out what in the Hades you're going to do to save your deer meat. I mean, you could have bought a generator for what it costs to process all that dang deer meat.
Very true.
Sorry, Creston, I didn't have your mic on.
I said very true, and you know how expensive it is to get them processed. Whether you do it yourself or go get it done, it's a lot of work.
100%. So look, man, avoid all that. Let Marty come out at Cowden Electric and get you a fully installed generator. Look, they can get any brand you want. I think Kohler is the one that they're authorized dealer for, but they don't have to use them. They can use whoever you want. If you want a Generac, get a Generac. A Honda, get a Honda. They'll do any of them, but they are a Kohler dealer, and they have some special financing options available through Kohler. So check them out today, CowdenElectric.com. That's COWDEN, CowdenElectric.com. And, of course, have you bought an electric vehicle lately? You want to get one of those superchargers put on the wall? I think that's going to be really expensive, overwhelming. Not so fast, my friend. Reach out to Marty. They're specializing in those. They got some great deals going. So let them come out and get your Tesla charger or whatever the other brands are. That I know everybody sells an electric car now, but Tesla is the omnipresent brand of electric vehicles. So that's why I always say a Tesla, but they can do any of them. So let them come out, get that thing hung up for you, and rocking and rolling. And my moderators over there on the YouTube, we got a new one there. We want to thank Andrew Camp. He has stepped up to be our third moderator. I have officially gone over there and hit the button. So, Andrew, I appreciate it. And while I got y'all's attention, I do want to say one thing to the mods and to the audience over there in the live chat. Look, I don't like having people banned from the live chat because I'm definitely a free speech guy. But what I'm not going to have is people just spamming crap. And by spamming, I don't mean just trying to sell. I mean just reposting the same thing over and over and over. And just being a general nuisance to everybody. If you want to come in, you want to hate on Clay Edwards, hate on Clay Edwards. I don't care. So, you can say about whatever you want about me. We're not gonna delete it. I don't. And moderators, I want y'all to hear this. I don't want stuff about me deleted. I want to leave it up there. What I won't delete it is repetitive hate. Like if somebody's in there, if they're ruining the good times for others, have all the free debates y'all want to have in there back and forth. And this is about how I'm on all my platforms. I don't mind people disagreeing and going back and forth, but there's a limit to it where you're just a nuisance and annoying. Like I know we had that guy that was in there. I think James was his name. Maybe he was affiliated with one of the white supremacy groups. He got blocked. I wouldn't have blocked him. I'm just going to be honest with you, because I like to let people show their whatever it is. Like I like to let people show their hate or their feelings, whatever you want to call it. Whether you're a black supremacist, a white supremacist, pro-LGBTQ, trans, whatever. I want to know who everybody is and how they think, so I know how to adjust my attitude about them. Does that make sense? Like I used to get messages all the time from people, Creston, says, somebody said something racist in your comments and you didn't delete it. I'm like, well, don't you want to know who the racists are?
That would be a good thing.
Or don't you want to know? Because I always hear y'all complain about low-key racist, racism coded. Like, no, leave the racist comments up. Let people know who they are. I mean, they were proud enough to put it out there for you to see, waving the flag. Why would I delete that? And some people are like, you know what? That actually makes sense. Well, they say, oh, no, but you would delete it if a black said it. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I feel the same way. The energy is reciprocated, I promise.
It goes both ways.
Yep. Like the only thing I'll delete, like if it's stuff about me, is just stuff that's just so blatantly a lie that and it's not done in humor. Mm-hmm. Like I know, even some of the mean-spirited stuff, I know when it's kind of done in humor. Like I can live with it. But it's just like some stuff's just stupid and slanderish. And I think there's a line, but most of it gets left up anyway because I don't go through the comments. Rarely. I have better things to do with my life than go see what people are saying about me in the comments. But every now and then I'll open something up and it's like the first comment and I can't help but see it.
Right.
I'm like, But that's where I've gotten myself in the most trouble over the years is replying to comments.
Oh, absolutely. It's the first thing you want to do is get on there and try to make things better, and you tend to make things worse.
Well, I wouldn't say trying to make things better, but I definitely tend to I go in there with full intentions of making it worse. Like I'm not going in there with a fire hose. I'm going in there with a flamethrower.
I would expect nothing less.
Flamethrower, for sure. For sure. All right, but anyway, I just wanted to that was for the YouTube mods there. Try to give people as much rope to hang themselves as possible. Don't delete as little as possible. It's this repetitive spam more than any, or repetitively spamming the same thing over and over and over. Really, my big gripe. Or if they're just replying to everybody very rudely and cussing people out and just being a nuisance. Those are really about my only two things I got a problem with. I really, really don't mind otherwise. And or if we got a guest on here and they're insulting the guest the entire time, or something like that. Just common sense.
I think people don't understand. We want the dissent. We want you to say what you think is right, mm-hmm. and we have to defend our position.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
I mean, that's why the other day, when I did that live video from the house and I called out these clowns who have been spreading some lies about me, I said, let's not forget that I challenged all of these people to come and sit across from me 3-on-1. Like they like that Jubilee show, that Black Democrat show. They like to do the 20 verse 1.
Yeah.
And they'll get like one person that disagrees with Black Democrats. It was Officer Tatum last week. He owned all of them. And we've had friends of ours on. We've had guys we know, Reverend Jordan Wells, the Black MAGA preacher. He's been on there. So we've had friends on that show, and I offered that. two of them sent a cease and desist. It was a bogus one. They were falsifying documentation. It was a false cease and desist that they did using their attorney's name and all this, that, and the other. But obviously I don't acknowledge their cease and desist because it ain't real. And if it was, I'm still ignoring it because, you know, I don't trust, I don't have any respect for them as people. So their cease and desist is nothing more than toilet paper to me. So two of them sent a cease and desist, and the other, I'll meet you somewhere and fight you. Shut up. You know, but it just tells you they can't prove their points. They can't come in and show me where I've ever lied. They can't come in and pinpoint any racist thing I've ever said because, you know, everything's racist.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's racist. They can't prove their points. Their argument is on quicksand, built on quicksand.
Well, that's when you know they can't argue their point is because they start calling you names or go to what we've said before. They're going to kill you or they're
vulgar, nasty.
They go just vulgar, absolutely nasty, and that's the thing that people out on the airwaves and on the chat don't get to see a lot of times.
Right. You know, like my favorite is, you know, you've stumped an idiot, especially a black one, when they've run out of things to say about you and you've proved them wrong. Yeah, but Trump. Yeah, but Trump. You know, I love that. That's when you just completely stump the Schwab. If anybody remembers the old ESPN show.
Yeah.
As they ain't got nothing to say. Oh yeah, but Trump did this. Yeah, but we ain't here to talk about Trump. And you're an idiot if you think Trump did that. You know, so I love it. Or they go into the vulgar, nasty, or yeah, but you're ugly. Your mama. Like, yeah, we've won this. And that's why I don't invite a lot of these people on the show. People are like, why don't you get somebody from the culture on your show? Well, because I think most of the culture is trash and can't watch their mouth to be on the radio for more than 30 seconds without dropping an F-bomb. You know, so that's just my humble opinion on it. Let's see here. Let me get my white criminal of the day in.
What an idiot.
So we can check this off the box, and y'all can't say that Clay is ignoring white people doing bad things, because I don't, but I've made this clear before. This kind of crime, this inappropriately abusing children kind of crime, when we stream to these platforms, which everybody loves us doing so much, they derank and shadow ban. And I think shadow ban is just something that only happens to the conservatives. Just say, no, you're not shadow banned. Your content sucks. Trust me, I get millions of views a month. I know when I'm shadow banned and when I'm not. And I can tell you what content that I can post, and it gets 100 views instead of 100,000. It has been shadow banned.
Oh, we would definitely like to call this out for what it is.
Yeah.
It's absolute evil.
Absolutely evil. Why don't you say culture rot? Because y'all don't understand what culture rot means. You don't understand what culture rot means. Y'all are so blinded by blackness that you think culture rot means crimes committed by black people. It's not what it means. It means the environment in which the people who commit those crimes are nurtured and rooted on and made excuses for and groomed. We talk about grooming a lot. It happens on white conservatives talk about grooming happening a lot, and it happening with the LGBTQ community on children and stuff of that nature. We refer to that as grooming. Well, grooming can happen other ways too. It can happen like what we talked about yesterday with female basketball players starting in AAU as they come up through the ranks through college into the NBA. They made it to college a straight, clean-cut girl raised by the preacher and his wife. And next thing you know, she's Dejanay Carrington, and she's a lesbian out here trying to decapitate white girls on the basketball court over trans because she don't want men playing women's basketball. So that's the culture, taking a girl and grooming her to be a bad person. Clay, being gay don't make you a bad person. 100% agree. 100% agree. It does not make you a bad person. What makes you a bad person is when gay is no longer what you are, but it becomes who you are. Now you're a bad person. You understand what that means now? Culture rot. What that means is the promotion of this kind of behavior, the celebration of this kind of behavior, the excuse making for this kind of behavior, the lack of accountability from anybody for this kind of behavior, whether it's a grown man inappropriately assaulting a child, a minor, anybody under 18 for that matter, but especially in the case of this one, a 14-year-old girl. If me and Creston were to get on here today, white boy right here on my screen, in Jackson of all places, and shout out to Judge Jeffrey Reynolds. He is doing it. He could come be a judge in Rankin County, but we need him in Jackson. He's doing the Lord's work in Jackson with these high bonds. Jeff Reynolds given an $8 million bond, 4 counts of assaulting this child at $2 million per account at charge.
Good for him.
I mean, amen. Can I get an amen?
Absolutely. Amen, brother.
Thank you. So let me explain what culture rot would be. Culture rot would be if Creston and I got on here this morning and said, now look, we don't know what that boy had been through. We don't know how he was raised. Maybe he got sexually assaulted as a child. And now he is doing it because he doesn't know the difference in right and wrong. Maybe his parents wasn't around to show him and to tell him that that's not right. You can't do that. See, that would be a culture of lacking accountability and making excuses for. And that's why I call it culture rot. That would be us out in front of the jail right now holding signs talking about free my dog. He ain't do nothing. My baby boy ain't do nothing. That's culture rot. Never accepting accountability. When a black mother who is the mother of a dead criminal, and let's say, for example, these little thugs, these little future rocket scientists, engineers, and astronauts decide to break into a house, and the homeowner decides to fill them up, to ventilate them, put them on a lead diet. No carbs, all lead diet. And she gets on there on the news and whines and complains. My baby was just trying to steal something. He wasn't going to hurt nobody. Or he was just robbing the store. Yeah, he had a gun pointed at you. He wasn't going to use it. You didn't have to kill my baby boy. That's culture rot. When the community rises up every time one of these clowns get themselves unalive because they didn't comply with the police. He's a good boy. He didn't do nothing. Yeah, comply, don't die. Comply, don't die. Comply, don't die. That is culture rot. All the things that BLM fight for. That is culture rot. Every single one of these people y'all have risen up for, with the exception of Nolan Wells, and you're only doing that because you want to try to figure out some racism in Mississippi. If Nolan Wells had got killed anywhere else in this country, y'all would look at the evidence and say them boys didn't do nothing, but because it's Mississippi, it's like, oh yeah, it's just got a ring to it. It's burning.
We know it happens down there every day.
Yeah, they hanging folks in Jackson still, Creston.
We got proof of it.
Thousands of people I saw a YouTube video the other day, thousands of blacks being hung in Mississippi. Wrong. Remember a couple years ago, the mass, the graves over there out at the jail, at the county jail?
Yeah.
What are those graves called?
Paupers' graves.
Paupers' graves. Man, they discovered that and said hundreds of dead black people buried behind a jail in Jackson, Mississippi. The racism. I'm like, yeah, but did you know that Jackson is majority super black, and every elected position, with the exception of 2 city council people, or in the entire county, are all black? Black sheriff, black police chief, blackity black. Everything's black. If no white people had anything to do with those bodies, in that pauper's grave, at least not in the last 30 years. And again, there's nothing wrong with pauper's graves. That's just unfortunately where people who didn't have any family to come and get them were buried. It ain't like they were murdered and thrown into a hole.
And wasn't that found out to be something to do with a hospital? Was
yeah.
that the same one?
Something like that, yeah. They send them to the hospital, they die, and they didn't have anywhere to bury them.
Yeah.
So they take them to the pauper's grave. Funerals are expensive. A lot of times families just say, we're not claiming the old crack kid. They decided to pick drugs over their family. I'm not spending $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for a funeral. Throw him in a box. You know, we love him, but he died a long time ago to us. So that's all I got. That's culture rot, just so you know. So when somebody white does something like this and we talk about it, it's not culture rot. Culture rot, and don't get me wrong, some white people grow up, participate in culture rot too. Culture starts at the home. But the culture rot just seems to start in a whole lot more homes in majority black Democrat cities like Jackson. You go argue with your mama. I see the crime statistics. I know who's doing it. You'll never change my mind. And need I end it with this. Rap music is the ultimate culture rot stir stick. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB. Welcome back in to the crap show, the Clay Edwards Show, the most incendiary show on the radio. We're live this morning, like we are every Monday through Friday, 7:07 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here, 103.9 WYAB, streaming worldwide on the Mazda Jackson live stream. Don't forget, you can always, if you missed the show, don't want to mess with the video apps and all that stuff, you can always go to the podcasting platforms. That's the audio only version. That's your iTunes, Spotify, Apple. Apple is iTunes, Podbean. There's so many different podcasts out. I think we're on iHeartRadio. I know we are. So we're on Amazon Prime. Do you have Amazon Music on your phone? Do you have Audible? We're on both of those. Never think to mention that. That's actually how I go back and listen to the show. If I go back and want to listen to something that I did, or maybe I think I made a mistake or something, I usually listen on Audible because I listen to books and stuff there. So I'll subscribe to it there. So it's weird getting a notification that you've uploaded your own show. Anyway, but it's all over the place, man. And we cut the ads out. That was what I was trying to say there. I don't go back and edit the ads out of the video. Sean does on his show. I don't on mine because it's just, I don't know how much it's worth it to do it. But we cut the ads out of the audio version and load it up, so it's a real easy listen. I don't cut the live reads out for our great sponsors because, I don't charge you anything to listen to the stuff. It's free content, so it does come. It's going to have some ads. It just is what it is. So, by the way, if y'all ever hear a pre-recorded commercial on Apple, Spotify, any of those podcasting platforms, those are not done by me. Those are done by ad agencies and those platforms that sell the ads. And yes, I do make a couple pennies. I think the most money I've made in 1 month from my cut of money from the podcast is like $107. But don't get me wrong, it was $107 more than I had. But I was spending like $40 to use the platform in the way that I use it with some of the extra bells and whistles. Did you know, Creston, that you can upload video now to Podbean and all that, and like a lot of times you do video on iTunes and everything. I can't get video on Spotify. I do not know how to do that. Maybe you have to use their program that they have, that other podcasting program, which I know this stuff doesn't interest anybody out there. But if y'all are ever getting ready to start a podcast and it's something you want to get into, I haven't said this in a while, I fully support fellow podcasters and people who want to get into content creation. I've helped dozens and dozens of people with that. If you don't want to buy the equipment and you want to kind of give it a test drive, I've got 2 different friends that have podcast studios that'll let you come in and you can do a video podcast or an audio podcast and just kind of get your feet under you. Because I'm going to tell you, most of them don't even make it to the 12th episode. You don't want to go spend a couple $1,000s on equipment and not be able to, and not use it. And you also don't have to spend that much money on equipment to start a podcast. You got a good microphone is all you really need. A good microphone. And you can use your cell phone. and all that stuff, or a good cheap webcam. You don't even have to have webcams if you don't want to do video. If you just want to do audio, there's a program called Audacity. You can download it to your computer for free. It's the one I use. There's multiple. Use Audacity. Get you a good microphone, preferably some good headphones, or you can even use your earbuds if you want. If they can Bluetooth up to your computer, and it's just that simple. And just start talking. But two things: it's got to be about something you're passionate about. Do not start a podcast just because you're trying to fill a void, because you think there's something that people are making money talking about. You will, because if you're doing it to make money, just assume you're never going to make a penny doing it. I'm just telling you, it needs to be a passion project. Because if you're starting a podcast in 2026, or you're starting a YouTube channel in 2026 with the thought process that this is going to be a business, we're going to make money doing this, I'm going to be a big YouTuber, you've already failed. Because you're going to get discouraged and you are going to quit doing it. That's why it's got to be about something that you're passionate about, that you're going to talk about or type about on Facebook or whatever, anyway. If it's something that you watch let's say wrestling, for example, Creston, because it's on 52 weeks a year.
Yep.
You just love wrestling. You want to talk about wrestling. That's great. Start a wrestling podcast then, because that's something you're passionate about. You're reading wrestling news sites all day. You're interacting in Facebook groups, arguing with people. That is something you're passionate enough about that I would say start a podcast or a live stream about. Of course, there's thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of people who do just that. So, make sure that you're going to, kind of find a way to separate yourself from those people to where give people a reason to listen to you. But nobody's going to listen to your first 100 episodes. If you're doing it consistently like that, it could be a couple years. You may have 2 or 3 people, whatever, that listen. You don't need to worry about views. You don't need to worry about listens. It just needs to be something you're passionate about. If it's like talking about the news in and around where you live, that's something I'm passionate about. Talking about culture rot. I did this forever for free. I just kind of backed into being able to make a living doing it. But it wasn't what I set out to do, because I would still be doing this as long as I got an internet connection.
Check the video.
Do what?
Check the video.
What about it? Well, too late. I'll fix it in a minute. So, again, we're a radio show first. But always, if you're going to do this, make sure it's something you're passionate about. So, that's all I got to say about that. Let's take our last break here. Not our last break, but let's take a break. I ran over big time that last segment, and I didn't want to waste one of my good topics on a short segment. So, if you want to get into the content game, you need to not be prepared. You need to be prepared not to make money. You need to be prepared to have your pride trampled on a lot, because there are going to be plenty of days where you don't have any views. And there's people who come in and hate on me sometimes. Oh, Clay only got 500 views. That's 500 people that went out of their way to go find my YouTube channel and watch it. How many seeked yours out today? Exactly. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by our buddies over at A1 Gear and Auto, right there, Highway 49 South in Florence, Mississippi. You're heading south, south on 49. You come through the little town of Richland, where we had the Great Southern Gun and Knife Show this past weekend. You're heading south on 49, and it's going to be right there on your right as soon as you leave the city limits sign. Well, it's not really the city limits sign. It's just where it turns from one city to another. Would that technically be called the city limits? I guess so. Either way, I always think the city limits is going into the county, because I grew up right there on the county line, or not the county line, but where Jackson ended and an unincorporated Byron began back in the day. It was like you are now entering Hines County,
mm-hmm.
or you are now leaving Jackson. Thank you, Jesus. Anyway, so I digress. You're heading south on 49, big white building, big red sign right there on your right. A1 Gear and Auto. That's what they specialize in. They got gear in the title. Your ring and pinion. You have any ring and pinion issues, they are the industry leader in working on those things, whether it's your front end or your rear end, four-wheel drives, front-wheel drives, rear-wheel drives. They got you covered at A1 Gear and Auto. But, hey, they do way more than just ring and pinion. Any issue you got with your vehicle, they can take care of it. water pumps, brakes, all that great stuff. A1 Gear and Auto. The only thing they don't work on is your diesel engine itself. They'll do all kind of work to your diesel truck. They just ain't working on the internal combustion engine. So that should cover that. A1 Gear and Auto, man. Locally owned, locally operated. Fixed right on time. Fixed right on budget every time. And, of course, diagnosed right the first time. Makes a big, big difference when you ain't wasting time trying to figure out what's wrong multiple times. Justin and his team, they don't waste time like that. I've never taken anything to them and it not been sitting there waiting on me when they said it was going to be ready. And I was on time. Like most people are usually on time to pick up their car from the shop because everybody's like, they need their cars.
They may not be anywhere else.
But they are waiting to get their car from the shop. A finished car does not sit anywhere long unless somebody, has to wait till they get off work to pick it up. But that's usually about it. So, all right, man, let's jump into a little story here. So Jackson, Mississippi is sitting at 54 homicides for the year. So what we got? Half August left, roughly. That's 2 weeks. Then you got all of September, October, November, December. So you got 4.5 months left in the year, if my math is mathing right.
It is.
4.5 months left, and we were sitting at 54. So half of 54 is what, 26 and a half, 26. So we tracking, let's just say 55 plus 26 would be 70, 81, 82, something like that. 54 plus 26. I'll do the math here real quick.
Don't make me math in my head. That's why we carry phones with us.
54 plus 2, so that should have been easy. 80. That's stupid me. If I'd seen it, I'd have not known it. Anyway, looking at 80 homicides for the year at this current pace. But I'm not going to sell Jacksonians short. I know whenever they got a goal to meet, when their credibility is on the line, when the opportunity presents itself for them to be the murder capital of America for the 6th year in a row, they're going to rally.
They will meet or exceed.
Yes, it's going to be a total team effort. Everybody kill all ops on site, plus any innocent victims that may be at the random gas station that this event pops off at. I think I'm joking. I am not joking. Late last year, back around Christmas Eve to be exact, there was 2 men murdered there in the last week of the year. I remember that Creston back, it was about a 3-day span there around Christmas, maybe a couple of days before, maybe a couple of days after, but right around Christmas, there was just a rash of homicides in Jackson. I said, man, it's almost like they know that they're down a good 30% year over year, but so are the other cities. But Trump had to send the military in to bring those down. So maybe it's like they know that they're on the verge of losing their title as deadliest city in America. So they posseed up and they said, Culture Rotters Unite, Culture Rotters Union 6969. Let's get together and let's figure out how we can stay the deadliest city in America. And this fella right here decided to go kill 2 guys out in front of a house on Christmas Eve. It says, breaking news, 24-year-old man has been arrested and charged with capital murder in connection with the Christmas Eve shooting deaths of 2 young men in Jackson. And he looks exactly like what you would expect somebody charged with doing such a heinous crime looks like. He's got tarantula legs coming out of his head, going every which direction but loose, or including loose, should I say. Typical nonsense over in Jackson. I made a post about this yesterday, and I just said, simply put, if the effort to do wrong was put into doing right, if the effort that Jacksonians put into doing everything wrong, if they would put that same effort into and arguing with me and trying to call anybody a racist that calls this crap out or any of that stuff, if they would put that same effort and energy and fire into just doing the right thing, man, Jackson could be the next Nashville. I mean, it would be a super city in a pretty short amount of time.
It would be a great city.
It would be, but Of course, we know that's not going to happen, but just theoretically speaking, if they were to take that same negative energy, that same hate that they have for themselves, they clearly hate themselves. I mean, I've never seen a group of people that just hate themselves so much that they just kill each other on sight. I mean, conflict resolution skills are just sorely lacking. It's just a lot of self-hate, hanging themselves from trees, all that stuff. If you could take that energy and you could funnel that somehow into a positive. Can we get Dr. Fauci on the line? Maybe let him do some research. What was that research called that they were doing over there in Wuhan? Where they were taking
gain of function.
Gain of function. Yeah, can we do some kind of gain of function research here with Jacksonians, with the culture, and see if there's a way to reverse engineer the culture to do right? Like maybe you could put it in a shot. Maybe since they banned the 708 stuff at gas stations, maybe we could create something that you could bottle and sell as a shot. Not get shot, as a shot like the kind you drink, people. Maybe sell it. Bottle it. It's like adrenaline. I don't know, maybe add it like some kind of ADD medicine or something. I don't know. That way, you could take it and act right and do right. And it just makes you energized for God, for good, and not, killing each other and selling dope and making rap music that sucks and bragging about your crimes and just being an overall piece of crap and stain on humanity. Like there's got to be a way to convert all of this negative energy into something good. I'm always told just another basketball court would do it. We just need more basketball courts, Clay. That'll do it. They need to be hugged. They need to be told that they're loved. Well, I'm not their mother. Or their father. I'm not going to tell them I love them. It's not my job to do that. It's the people at the home's job to do that. But yeah, I see this crap and I'm just so fed up with it. We see all this fuss about people hanging from trees, people drowning because of however Nolan Wells drowned, accidentally, of course. Again, people hanging from trees. I just hung up, no pun intended, on this accusation that white people are roaming the streets of Jackson and stringing up black women from trees and killing black women. That one really offends me, that y'all think that we would do that.
Well, again, it's not the people from Mississippi that are spouting this. Now there are the people from Mississippi that did it, but mainly is people from outside the state of Mississippi that believe this goes on a daily basis.
Yeah, I saw one guy on YouTube yesterday that was like, "Bro, what's going on down in Mississippi? Y'all weak. They're the weakest black people in the country down there in Mississippi, allowing thousands of them to be hung." I'm like, bro, if thousands of people are being hung from trees, I promise it would. I wonder, where are you getting your news from?
I have no idea.
And I mean, I get that all the black for a living folks, the race baiters, the panders, the Ben Crumps of the world are pushing these agendas, but even them haven't talked about thousands of people hanging from trees. I asked the guy yesterday, I said, we were arguing online, and he was like, well, this kind of stuff is known to happen in Jackson. I'm like, can you please tell me of one example of a black being hung in Jackson in the last 100 years? And I said, I'll give you Craig Anderson being ran over. We can call that a lynching. The guy that got ran over there in front of the old hotel at Ellis Avenue, we'll own that one. Other than that one, can you give me an example of a black person being lynched or hung from a tree in Jackson, or frankly, the state of Mississippi, past Emmett Till? And I don't think Emmett was hung, was he? He was beaten and lynched and found dead in the river. He wasn't even hung. So I don't know, man. I'm just fed up with it. It's y'all are taking history, you've bastardized it, and you're making stuff up to push an agenda and a narrative today. And people are just sick and dang tired of it. We really, really are. And we'll be right back to land the plane for the day. This is the Clay Edwards Show, 103.9 WYAB.